All right, what's up, everybody? Good to be back for another one, like always. Um, I guess I'll start out with a public service announcement. If you ever put on sunscreen to go to your daughter's baseball tournament, like don't half-ass it. Like put it actually all the way around your head, or else you get burnt in the corners. Like just a FYI there. Man, I got toasted. It was terrible, but that's beside the point. When you put on sunscreen, don't half-ass it. Lesson learned. But super excited. Um, Today we're going to be talking about setting the pace of the game. I think this is a very important thing that I learned as a player, and it really took my play to the next level because I understood it. It helped me think of the game as a way to look at my opponent and myself's deck and like how we're trying to finish the game. And when you have that understanding of your opponent's, hero and things like that, it really makes finishing a game a lot easier, closing it out, if you will. So before we get started, I want to go ahead and put this out there for the VOD, put it out there up front. Um, as of now, I am starting to offer coaching. Um, so if anybody's interested, the best way to contact me is in the Discord. Hop in the Discord and contact me that way. Other than that, you can email me at nathantcgzcoaching@gmail.com. Currently, the way that I'm doing it is for the first 10 people that sign up for any coaching service up to 10 hours, I'm going to reduce the cost to $20 an hour. And then after that, it'll be, depending on what demand's at, either $30 or $40 an hour. Yeah, I was going to do 10, but 3 people have already signed up. So the next 7 will get the $20 price for up to 10 hours. So if you're interested in that, I'm more than happy to help with anything. If you want to you want to watch you play games and kind of say, oh, let's look at things this way, things like that. If you just want to help make deck edits for RTN season, I'm all ears. Whatever you want to get out of it, and you want to kind of take things to the next level, I'm more than happy to help you accomplish that, especially with RTN season around. So what's up, Hal? Good to see you. What's up, Will? What's up, Justin? Austin? Good seeing everybody. Good seeing everybody. So yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and put that out. I'm gonna mention it one more time in the middle of the stream when we start getting some momentum with people spilling in, getting off work over on the West Coast and stuff like that. So just putting that out there. What's up, Damien? Yeah, so for the schedule today, like I said, we're going to talk about setting the pace of the game is the mainstream topic. I talked to Valreg in the Discord, and I do owe you a session or not a session, but like a stream topic of deck building. But I think that deserves its entire own stream. So I'm going to do that next week. So, Justin, the coaching for the next 7 people that sign up for up to 10 hours booked will be $20 an hour. After that, it'll go up to 30 or 40, depending on what the demand's at. And kind of like how much time I have available. But for the next 7 people, $20 an hour for 10 hours booked. Up to 10 hours. You can book 1 hour, you can book 10, just no, you can't book 100 at the 20, basically. But good question, Justin. So yeah, we're going to talk about setting the pace of the game and look at some matchups is like basically what we are trying to accomplish or what both sides are trying to accomplish, and basically try to make decision points based on which one you want to take. So we'll go ahead and hop straight into it. We're going to talk about that. Like I said, Valreg and Discord, next week's stream is going to be on deck building, guaranteed. And then also I told somebody we'd go over some matchup topics for Briar, and then we're going to close with some Briar games. I'm going to show everybody the RTN list that I'm taking this weekend to my RTN. Not hiding anything. I'm going to show. I might change a couple cards based off of who I talk to or whatever, but like it'll be like 78 cards what I'm bringing basically. So yeah, let's go and get started. Let's not waste any more time. Let's hop on into it and get this ball rolling. Okay, it wouldn't be a stream if we didn't have a chart, right, of some kind. I don't really like the way this looks. I normally like the dark, but because of the color lines, it looks a little bad. So I'm going to blind everybody. Sorry about that. Turn the brightness down on your phone is the best advice I can give, but it makes the lines show up a lot better for the discussion. Thank you guys for the support. I really do appreciate it. When and where is the one I'm going to? I'm going to one in just south of Nashville, Tennessee. I think it's called Border Than Games, I think is the name of it. It's in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. That's what I know. So yeah, we're gonna talk about setting the pace of the game. Now, what do I mean when I'm talking about setting the pace of the game? That's the important part, right? What I'm referring to is if everybody's like walked in a hallway, right, and like somebody's walking toward them, and you're walking, you're both people are approaching each other at the same time, and like you both realize you're walking at each other, and you both like go this way, and you both go in the same direction, and there's like that very awkward moment, and then eventually somebody just picks a direction to go, and they go. We've all been there, right? That awkward instance. Well, whether we realize it or not, subconsciously, we do that in regards to pacing in every Flesh and Blood match. It's not as awkward, obviously, but we do it. And what I mean by is we basically, one person decides 50% of how fast or slow the match goes. And then the other person, because theoretically, the fastest speed possible is if both people don't block. Okay, the slowest speed possible is if everybody blocks. Okay, and then half is if one person's all about blocking and one person's not. And then there's a whole slew of variables in between, right? So we are basically going to break down why it's advantageous to speed up, slow down, hold strong, whatever the case may be. We're going to go over, why we should not, what deck should not, things like that. Okay. Let me look at my notes. Okay. So everybody knows on a fundamental level for Flesh and Blood, right? We draw our cards, right? And we say, offensively, this hand deals 14 damage, right? And defensively, it blocks 12. Well, we should probably use it offensively, right? Like anytime you can get more value out of a hand, you should probably do it. It's not obviously that simple, or everybody would be good at the game, because you have to factor in on-hit effects, you have to factor in key cards, things like that. But from a general perspective, that's how the game should be played, based off of value for the most part. But today's topic is, what if the hand offensively does 12 damage and defensively blocks 12? Then what do, right? Should you go offensive? Should you go defensive? That's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to be talking about, because you want to take the most efficient line you can, unless there's like a really good reason on why you're not. But we're talking about those pretty common occurrences where it's not more efficient to do one or the other, but there is still a right answer. Okay. And of course it wouldn't be my stream if we didn't reference Briar. So we're going to start by using Briar as an example. I'm going to bring up some other stuff. But we're just going to use Briar as an example. So here I have a chart, just a simple line from like 0 to 10. Okay. On the x-axis, or horizontally, this line right here is just going to represent the turn number. Okay? Simple as that. These lines right here are going to be mathematical averages for when you would draw a 1 of 3 power card. So in Briar, we're obviously talking about Channel Mount Heroic, right? That's a given. In Brute, this would be Blood Rush Bellow. In Mid Range Dash, this would be High Octane or Pulse Wave Harpoon. Oldhim, it'd be CNC Pummel. Whatever. Anytime a deck has a huge leverage point of which they can get a lot of value from either a card or a combination of a very few amount of cards to really pivot the game, that's what these lines represent, right? So if you were to go over a 12 turn game, you could probably CNC Pummel maybe once, twice, maybe even 3 times, right? And that would be each occurrence, right? And it's just a mathematical average on when it would happen, right? You see your first CMH around turn 3, you see your second around turn 6, and so forth, right? Of course, there's a lot of things that we can't account for, like if you Sonata, you shuffle your deck, that's more cards between you and CMH, stuff like that. We can't account for that, but just know that that exists, right? So, what I want to portray in setting the pace for the game is basically the concept of a runway. Okay, so imagine, obviously, like what airplanes take off on, just a huge thing of pavement, a runway, right? And then imagine the decisions you make. So say you draw, let's say you're at a point in the game where we're going to use Briar as an example. Let's say you have an embodiment and you have no arsenal and you just have a nimblism and a 0 for 4 that doesn't have go again. No tunic counter, no snaps, no nothing. Just a nimblism and a 0 for 4. On hits don't matter, okay? Let's say your opponent is at the end of their turn presenting 3 damage. Okay? You have a choice to make, right? That hand, so obviously you're not blocking with the 0 for 4 because it does 4 offensively and 2 defensively, right? But the nimblism does 3 either way, whether you block the last attack or you play it offensively. Okay? And this is where we get into the discussion of if this is at the beginning of the game, if you block with the nimblism, what you are doing is you are giving yourself more runway at the end of the game, right? Let's say we're talking about a Bravo versus Briar matchup. I would say that an average Briar versus Bravo matchup probably goes 7 turns, give or take, maybe 6, right? So you're going to get your first CMH, play it, resolve it probably, unless you get disrupted, whatever. But depending on how you play, you may not reach the second one, which may be necessary depending on how well the first one goes for you. So making those micro decisions on blocking when you get the exact same amount of value instead of playing it offensively, then you're providing more runway to get to that second CMH, or maybe even your first if you're on the bad side of variance, right? We've all been there where we went 30 cards deep and never saw one. It happens, right? Now, of course, it's a little bit deeper than that with the Briar example, because pumping it to 7 would make it harder for Bravo to deny the embodiment, and you have to make decisions like that. But we're just looking strictly on a value perspective, right? Because Briar's kind of the only example of that. Like for Brute as an example, right? Let's say you have like one card and you can either, block with it or attack with it, and it's a 3 value no matter what because you have Mandible Claws. Like, you're making that choice to either block for 3 or swing for 3. And blocking with it buys more time to get to Blood Rush Bellow is the point that I'm ultimately trying to make, right? Because let's say as the natural game progresses, we'll go back to the Briar and Bravo matchup. The game naturally progresses, and let's say around this 6th turn, you're typically at 10 life. If you draw your Channel Mount Heroic at 10 life, you're not going to get that much value out of it, right? Because if you play it, whether they have disruption or not, just like good damage, right? If they threaten they could Anathos pummel and literally kill you, right? So you're going to have to block with 2 to 3 cards if you give up enough tempo playing the Channelmount Heroic. So the idea that I want to give to people that I think is very valuable for some decks, this is not every deck, right? Viscera is just trying to go. I think this is not a strategy that you're just trying to eke out as much value as you can turn to turn. If you have a dead card, you block with it, right? You're not trying to like, oh, I'm going to block with every card in my hand so I can get to Mordred Revel, right? Like that's not really how that deck wants to operate, unless you're specifically built for that type of strategy. And you would kind of operate on that against Oldhim in some spots, because you want to have big turns, not a bunch of average turns. But we're really talking about like decks like I said, Bloodrush Bellow for Brutes, High Octane for Mechanologist, and anybody that has strong power card combinations, like really strong, that can turn tempo. Okay, so back to the Briar and Bravo example. If during these first 4 turns we made 1 to 2 of those even value decisions that made it where we blocked instead of attacked with a card and got equal value, then at this point in turn 6, we would be at 16 life, right? And then we could actually execute the Channelmount Heroic without having to block as much, unless they had disruption. If they have disruption, then that's just how the game's played, right? But they can't just provide raw damage and still get the disruption, right? That's what I'm referring to when I say runway. It's you play the power card that requires execution on a following turn, like Channelmount Heroic. You need enough runway to where you don't play it like playing a Channelmount Heroic at 5 life. You're gonna play it. You're gonna buff an attack, and then you have to block with 3 cards and buff another attack on the next turn. You're only getting 2 pumps, which basically means Channelmount Heroic is a weaker Nimblism, because literally 2 Nimblisms is better because you get the action point back from the embodiment. Because you're paying 2 cards for 6 value, which is not where you want to be on the Channelmount Heroic. But if you make a couple decisions earlier in the game to provide more runway for your big turn, like Reinhardt doesn't want to block with 2 cards when he's trying to Bloodrush Bellow, unless he absolutely has to guarantee that it hits. But yeah, like that's just not what those decks are trying to do. And another good point is like use Dash as an example, right? If Dash has a bunch of items set up, she on the face of the value, you might say this like a yellow 0 for 60 attacks for 3 or blocks for 3. But the more items you have out, there's actually more value in blocking with that card, because then you can leverage the items that you've established. Same thing for Dromai, right? Let me caveat real quick. This discussion is not tempo related. Okay. We have to draw that line that this is not tempo related. And for those of you that might be newer, tempo is one of those things that's very hard to define, but I thought about it today and I think I came up with a very good definition of what tempo actually is. I believe the definition of tempo in Flesh and Blood is the maximum amount of offensive value a deck can provide minus the cost to execute it, right? So what does that mean? It's literally a mathematical equation if you really break it down. It's your highest offensive output on average minus the life you have to take to play that offensive hand, right? Now, everybody's like, yeah, no shit, right? Like that's pretty easy. But like we've heard terms like I have full tempo. What is full tempo? Full tempo is offensive value minus 0, because they have no hand. So you're not paying anything to just do the best offensive thing you can. Right? But if you, let's say you don't have full tempo, right? And you're a deck like Dromai, where you are basically taking 6 damage to a board state. The math gets really wonky. That's probably a bad example to do, right? But like, if let's say the average Briar hand is 14 damage offensively, but you could sit there and say, to do the 14, how much do I have to take? And that is a measurement of how much tempo you have. I guess theoretically it would be your offensive output minus their offensive output for that turn would be the definition of tempo. So if I was going against Bravo, where his 4-card hand is usually 10 damage and mine's 14, I would have to eat 10 to deal 14 if I had no tempo, right? If I had half tempo, I'd take 5 to deal 14 again, right? And you just keep making those exchanges. But you have to factor in disruption on hits, things like that into the math, right? But so this back to the main point, this conversation is not about tempo. It is about having enough runway in regards to life to make a tempo pivot, right? If you have no tempo and you're trying to play a card like Channel Mount Heroic and you are at 5 life, it's not going to go well for you, because you're going to play that card and you're going to have to take the mathematical ratio of whatever their tempo value is into yours. And you're going to have to block with 2 to 3 cards. And you're not going to get the value out of playing the power card, right? It just doesn't make sense. So you're much better off just blocking for 4. Like literally, it's just a higher value play. But so many people I've heard in games, and you know, we've all been there around the Runeblade player. You know, oh man, I didn't draw Channel Mount Heroic, I couldn't win. You know, but how much of that, of not drawing Channel Mount Heroic, how much of it's variance and how much of it is the game only lasted 3 turns because they said no blocks every single turn, so they only drew 3 hands. Like, no shit, you didn't see 1 out of 3 in 12 out of 60, right? Like, that's not, there's like a 40% chance that happens. Probably more than that. It's probably less than, yeah, it should be like a, you always play force, never block with it. Yeah, that's a tweet I put out. That's an interesting point, Justin, because I'll go ahead and share it if nobody saw the tweet that's in here or sees the VOD. I put out in the last stream, I put out my RTN list, and as you know, you can go to Fabrary and like look at results from people playing the list, right? One thing that I noticed that was very interesting was I looked at my results on my private. It's the same list, same 80 cards. Just I have one because I don't want like other people's results in my statistical data, basically. But I play Force of Nature 4 to 5 times less than 4 to 5 times less than I block with it. But on the public one that I don't play on, they played it 4 to 5 times more than they blocked with it. So I thought that was very interesting that, like, you know, Force of Nature is a, like, talk about, I'm really glad you brought this up, Justin. Thanks for bringing this up, because it's a great example on how playing that card shrinks your runway so much because it blocks for 4, right? All you're doing is you're playing a card for 1 damage and giving something an on-hit effect, right? Now, if it's with Channel Mount Heroic, it's a no-brainer, right? You play it. We all know that. We've seen the 20-card combat chains. I blew up a Viscerai at Charlotte. I think I dealt literally 58 damage one time. But, like, we know to play it there. But the other 98% of the time, just block with it, because that's 4 life. It's the difference between drawing Channel Mount Heroic at 10 life and at 6 life. And the difference in what you can do between those. Like, a 6 life, you can't even entertain playing it unless you have full tempo, right? And even then, you might become tempo negative by playing it, right? So like that could cost you if you're at 6 life. But if you're at 10 life, you can give up a little bit of tempo to play it, right? Or maybe you draw a pulse and it's in yellow and you have to pitch an extra card to do it. So it's like kind of slight efficiency, but you really need it to close the game out the next turn. You can't do that at 6 life. If you take a step back and do that at 6 life, they're going to get your hand and there's nothing you can do about it. But if you're at a higher, 10 to 15 life, you can do that. So that's what I wanted to bring up, was basically just when blocking, when you have certain power cards in a deck, like real power cards, it literally, sorry, that light was just getting me. But the blocking gives you more runway to execute the card and the game plan. Right? How many Oldhim players have drawn CNC Pummel but didn't have the life to pull it off, right? And was that because they took a little bit too much damage to throw a Spinal when the opponent had plenty of armor? Like if they wouldn't have made that decision, maybe they could have pulled it off, right? It's like Flesh and Blood is such a punishing game. I'll never forget this. Josh Lau told me this. Josh said, a game of Flesh and Blood is not won or lost by the last correct or incorrect decision made, right? It's usually the one 3 or 4 turns ago that loses you the game. It's not it's not I blocked wrong on the very last turn. That's not how it works. It's you took too much damage here, which puts you in a situation to where you had to block in the first place, right? And it's things like that, and it kind of cascades if you make more mistakes. That's why when you get the newer players, the armories, they have a really hard time winning their first game because there's such a there's such a low amount of variance relative to other card games, is because of that. What's up, Paul? Good to see you, aka the Tall Timmy, in case anybody didn't know. Good to see you, man. Yeah, I'm definitely handshaking and fist bumping after my matches. I can guarantee you that. I saw that video. Good stuff. Yeah, so that's the main goal that I wanted to portray, is the more that you, I'm not saying it's always correct to block. I don't want to give that misinformation, but if you find yourself playing games and it's like, oh man, I never saw Channel Mount Heroic, I never saw Blood Rush Bellow, did you block enough to get enough turn cycles to see it mathematically and statistically, right? That's something that you really got to ask yourself, is did you block an appropriate amount to be able to find those cards? And know that the more you block, the more time you give yourself to get to those cards. And it's super, super important to have that understanding. And it's especially important for Briar, but other decks can very easily apply that as well. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's kind of all I had on a couple examples that I wanted to give of decisions in common decks that like speed up or slow the game down kind of unnecessarily. Swinging Anathos with Bravo. Okay. Let's break down the swing of an Anathos, something so simple that actually has a lot of thought process to go behind it. Everybody knows that if you pitch one card to swing Anathos, you're getting 1 for 4. Good value. You should probably always do that unless you're stopping on an effect. The question is, do you double pitch, right? Because theoretically, you're only getting 2 more damage and a resource, which is a value of 3 for that second card. And we all know every card in Bravo blocks for 3. And you may not even get the realization on the resource because you might not need the Seismic Surge. You may or may not. Who knows? Depends on deck building and planning, pitch stack, stuff like that. But at best, you're getting a value of 3. So if you block with that second card instead of pumping or activating Tectonic Plating, you are extending the game. right? But if you pitch it and actually buff the hammer by activating tectonic plating, then you are actively speeding up the game. Is a good example. So yeah, don't mistake it for tempo. It's how much runway you have to make the pivot based off of current tempo. That's the main point that I wanted to portray. So what we're going to do next is we are going to go. I had a request in the Discord. Once again, I'm going to put it out there. Like if anybody wants to see anything, hop in the Discord. And like I'd love to cover specific topics. Like somebody said, "Oh man, they're having a hard time like not sideboarding, but like how to approach certain matchups, right?" Um, and I'm more than happy to do that, right? And we'll do that right now. We'll do that for Briar because that's what that person was asking for. So I'm gonna spend. This is gonna be super quick. I'm just gonna spend 5 to 10 minutes kind of going over. I'm not gonna cover all 16 heroes. I'm just gonna cover the ones that are like relevant, right? I hate to say sorry for any like Levia players or whatever or Boltons, you know. So yeah, we're gonna go over a matchup. So Lexi, depending on your deck, if you're on my list, you are going to prioritize blocking. You're literally going to block, 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 block as efficiently as you can and send a 0 for 4 to maintain embodiment. And then literally when they have an off turn by pitching a red, not having a blue, or they, you know, just try to set something, they realize what's happening and they start pitching a Rain Razors and a 3 of a Con. The second they start doing that, you go in, right? You Bramble Spark, Fuse, Nimblism, Snatch, you know, you start making plays like that if they ever take a step off by punishing, right? You're kind of taking the Oldham philosophy with an instant punishment if they ever misstep. Is all you're doing. You're just sitting back and waiting. And then when they get to 8 to 10 life, you pivot to the offensive and close the game. So the way the match usually works out is you're at like a 20 life lead. It's usually like 30 to 10 before the pivot. And then once they get to 8 to 10, you make the pivot. You're going to take a ass load of damage, right? You're going to go to like, you're going to probably match them at 10 very quickly, but then start forcing them to block every single turn. And you're going to start getting card after card. And then you win because of the whole embodiment exchange and everything. And you have better break points with fewer cards. You'll win the trades at the end. So it'll start like you're really far ahead, but then eventually you'll finish the game at 8 or 10 life if you do it correctly, and it's a good game for you. For the Guardians, for Oldham, you're just going to play the value game. I like to do the opposite of whatever they are doing. If they are more aggressive, I like to be a little bit more defensive because you have the rights of replenishment to fall back on for fatigue purposes. But, you know, because you have that in there, you can afford to block with some of your non-attacks that are offensive, right? Or you can block with a Nimblism. Like, it's not the end of the world. Because Guardian on the surface has poor value if they play offensively. So if you can flip it to where you play defensively while they're playing offensively, typically you get a higher value than they do. Bravo, Channel Mount Heroic doesn't matter. 9 times out of 10, I do not play Channel Mount Heroic against Briar because it's too much of a liability because they can shut it down so easily with disruption if you play it. 9 times, I'll play it if I can. Like if it's a free spot and I have tempo and like I'll jam it out there in a heartbeat. But I'm never going to like eat a spinal and play a Channel Mount Heroic unless I absolutely have to. It's just such a negative EV play. Just park a D-reacting Arsenal. Wait for them to make some super inefficient play by dominating a spinal using 4 cards, dealing 9 damage, and you just shut it down with Grasp and a D-react from Arsenal. Like and then you just win the value play. Maintain that embodiment. For Azalea, same thing. You take anything that's not a immobilizing shot or some of those you even take, or a red in the ledger. And Remorseless if you're trying to go very offensively with a bunch of cards. depending on the situation. But if you just park that D react and wait for them to slip up, and then they throw like a Spire sniping for 8 or something, you just eat that and you go in. You just go in. And that's it. For Azalea, what else? What else we got? We got Briar, Bravo, Dor, Icelander, Viserai. Viserai, you're kind of forced into racing because they'll kill you off of Arcane. However, I do like to efficiently block, obviously with the blues. You know, you have to stop the mob triggers. You can't take those to the dome. It's never going to work out for you. What else we got for matchups? What else is prevalent? Dromine. Play less poppers. Holy cow. I know everybody's going to be like, what? I don't even play all my poppers. I run 5 poppers right here, and I don't even play them all in the Dromine. I think I literally run 1 CNC and 2 rights. Now, why would I do that, right? Why does that make sense? And the answer is, with a deck like, all I'm trying to do every single turn against Dromai is swing Rosetta Thorn. Because if they play a dragon with a 2 booty, you clean it up easy and deal damage, right? Like, that's how you win that matchup. But if you draw 2 poppers in your hand, you've just triggered Phantasm on yourself, literally. Like, sure, you're going to stop their turn, but you also stopped yours. And the game's not progressing in any way. And if the game's not progressing, that helps Illusionist, right? So what I like to do is I like to have just a couple in there, but I like to use tactics like Pulse of Candlehold on the pivot. If they build up a board state and I need to provide space for myself, I will play Pulse, put rights back on top, draw it next turn, slow them down, go in, and pressure the life total. Same thing for give and take. If they block the give and take, punish. I'll put 1 popper and some other gas on top and a rabble or something and go in, right? That's kind of the game plan for the deck. I can't think of any other what other heroes we got that are the mirror match. It's all about embodiments. It's all deny theirs when you can, when you're trying to make a play, and then don't let them deny yours. Azuri, sometimes just let them have the arsenal. Preferably you stay off of one, but sometimes just like let them have it. It's not worth defending, to be honest, because their damage output is so low that you can usually outvalue them by losing the cards from arsenal. Riptide, yeah. Don't play against Justin. He got me. I'll confess. I will confess that that Justin got me on Riptide the other day. He did collapsing trap me for 10 value, but yeah, that does happen. Riptide, you're just trying to play the value game. That's it. Just strict value. Try to minimize the potential impact of the legendary traps if you can. You can't play around it forever though. You kind of have to put them in that spot where they better have it. Versus Dory, I like to work in a 3-phase plan against Dory. I like to start aggressive. While they have 1 counter, if the hand allows me to, I like to mid-range to deal a little bit of damage, but also reset the counter. If the math works out, like if I draw a Rabble and a Scar and like 2 blue 4 blocks, I'll jam the 8 on the block to try to reset the counter and then attack, stay mid-rangey, right? But if that doesn't work, if they somehow either go around or whatever and they get a second counter, I will reset on 2 counters. I'll just lay down the hand. You lose to Twinning Blade that way, but you kind of have to. It's just your only way. It's pretty favorable because we also have the D-Reacts in the deck now. More of them. We have like the Unmovables or whatever. And those are just huge. They're so huge against Dory. And Katsu. Katsu, both ninjas. Katsu, you block everything in the surging line. if your hand allows. Don't be laying down on your snatches in front of surging strikes and stuff like that. Um, you have to always look at your hand and plan to block the whelming gust wave. If you can't, if you know for a fact you can block the whelming gust wave and the surging strike, do so they don't get the chance to go get the whelming, and you might not have to block with the second card. However, if you look at your hand, it's like 2 or 3 attacks and like 1/4 block. Just save it for the whelming. Don't run the risk on them. Better have it, whatever. Don't do that, because you can just get hard punished. You can try to block the surging. They can empower it anyway. It can just get so bad so quick. But you're just trying to, if they're throwing anything that's not in the surging line and it's not triggering Mask of Momentum, you don't care. As long as it's not in the surging line. And really the first 2 pieces. We don't care about Bonds. We care about him getting to Bonds. If he gets to Bonds, there's nothing we can do about it. He's getting 8 value for free. And we only care about Dishonor if the second part is active. But that's it. That's pretty much all the just a macro game plan for a lot of the matchups using Briar. So we are going to go ahead and hop into some games. But right before we do that, sorry for everybody that joined me at the very beginning. I do want to go ahead and plug the coaching real quick one more time for those of you who've joined us in the past, 20, 30 minutes. As of now, I am starting to offer coaching. What I told myself was the first 10 people that sign up, I was going to do at a rate of $20 an hour. And everybody that's after the 10, I'm going to up it to 30 or 40, depending on the demand. And currently 3 people have signed up. So there's 7 more slots for the $20 rate. And that is a $20 rate for up to 10 hours booked. We can play, Justin. I'll play you first. No problem. So yeah, up to 10 hours, I'll do the $20 an hour for the coaching for the first 7 people that sign up. That doesn't mean you have to sign up for 10 hours. I'm just saying I'll do up to 10 hours. You can just do 1. That's perfectly okay. The best way to contact me is on Discord, or you can email me at nathantcgzcoaching@gmail.com. Either way, whichever way is easier. I'd be more than willing to help you out with anything, whether it be me watching you play games, you record yourself, we talk over it, whatever you want to do. We can build a deck, make edits to a current existing deck, whatever the case may be. Let's see. How do we feel about Sigil of Suffering versus Sink Below? Me personally, I would basically I like Sigil on the surface. The problem is against Lexi, there's a lot of turns where, like, Lexi's one of the matches that I'd be the happiest using it. Basically, the 2 matches where Sigil is very good is anybody that doesn't run AB, or Oldhim, and that's it. No AB in Oldhim. And the reason it's good against Oldhim is he ends so many turns with just Hammer and Arsenal. And when you present the Sigil, they have a choice to make. They either take 1 or they come off an Arsenal, right? Assuming they don't have a counter on Tunic. And that's a very high value play because then you prevent Crown of Seeds on the next turn. So I like that play. However, Sink Below just fixes the hand. Like, it really does. I'm just such a fan of it. I did a couple days ago, I played around with taking out the Unmovable and put in Sigil of Suffering. It was actually kind of good. You just lose some points into Azalea, to be honest. But if you're okay with doing that, that's what I would do. I would take these 2 Unmovables out and I would put in Sigil of Suffering. But Sink Below is just better. I think Sink Below is one of the best cards in the game. Kansu really wants to make his opponent question if their blocking decisions are correct. Yep, absolutely. Talk to me said, why so many tomorrow? It's just a swap for the Weave. Yeah, so basically the way it works is I'm a fan of Weave Earth. It's a 0 cost. It's an Earth. It actually applies to rights, which has value. the the reason that I actually like So as a not, it's an earth card, it's a blue, it's a turn extender if it's played from Arsenal. If it's from hand, it sucks. But if you can, like, it's a blue that I don't mind arsenaling because it can always draw another card, right? And that's half an embodiment for almost no price, right? And that's why I think it's just a better EV. I used to be on Three Weave Earth a while back, but and then of course you get the free anti fatigue value of recurring cards. Specifically in the Oldhim matchup, my favorite thing is I like to block with the rights because they block 3, and then I'll go get them back with the So's. Because Pulse, you want to always go grab Channel if you can. But yeah, that catches me up in chat. Yep. So we will go ahead and hop into some games and close it out. Just hanging out, playing some games. I owe Justin a game. So I'm assuming you made a game. Did you? Did you send me a link? Let's find out. All right. I'm going to make a game, Justin, and I'll send you the link. We'll do it that way. We'll make it private. Then we'll copy link, and I will send it to you. So you should have that. And okay, and also as of now, midstream, there are only 5 slots left for the discounted coaching at 20 an hour. I've had 2 people sign up since putting it out. So if you're interested in that, like I said, it's just first come first serve. The next 5 people that messaged me saying, "Hey, I'm down to claim it," it's yours. All right, so we got Justin. We always want to like to go second because tempo's a thing. I think we got a Riptide button. I don't know why. It's definitely the least used one out of all of them, but we'll take it. Yep, we'll just run it. Okay. Back to Briar. That's right. We got to. We can't take too much of a break. And so this is literally the same list I showed you guys yesterday or last time. The only thing that I changed was I took out Shock Charmers and put in Crown of Seeds. Let me explain my thought process on that. The reason that I want to bring Crown of Seeds is at an event like an RTN, I can scout the tables a little bit, and if there's anybody that's heavy on ice, it's a good hedge against Ice Lexi. Is the idea, because if they flip over the ice card, you can activate Crown to effectively reset the Frostbite and giving you another card to block with. Okay, I think we'll probably just throw the Scar because they do obviously run relevant cards like that this applies to. So we will prioritize that in for Valreg for the coaching, man. I'll cover anything you need, whether it be just talking over deck builds, changing out cards, whatever the time is better spent, I'm all ears on what you would get more value from. I can watch you play games and kind of say, do this instead of, say, hey, have you thought of this? Do we want to slow the game down, speed it up, things like that. Sorry, I do seem to be lagging just a tad. Give me a second. Okay. This hand's pretty good. We don't block those. All right, Lance with inertia. Probably going to fire the Bolton shot here. Reload doesn't matter. This has go again, so we know something else is coming after. And we don't necessarily care about the inertia. We do kind of care about this, but unfortunately there's no like easy way to cover it up. But I think giving the grasp here is worth, because we're wasting one block, but we're saving 1, 2, 3. So it's a total net of +2, which we like. Okay, and this is my favorite play in the game. Anytime I can Earthlore Surge red something and it have go again, you have the perfect curve of having one left over for the Rosetta Thorn. Extremely good value. We give the inertia back to him. So next turn he can't sit up. We also play around. We get destroyed by Buzzsaw Trap here, but all the other traps like collapsing, all that, we don't get hurt by it because our hand is already empty. So that is get the coaching and tell him how to beat Josh. I've played a lot of reps against Bolton and Dory. If anybody needs that, I 100% got you. 100%. I could teach you how to beat Dory and Bolton. I don't know about beating Josh. That's a little harder. A little harder. He's a good player for a reason. All right, so we're going to keep trading 0 for 4s. I'm okay with doing that because he has something else coming. I'm not sure. He could snap here. Basically saving this for the last moment. Okay, so we're just going to give that right back. We're cool with doing that. We're going to see what he grabs. Okay, so he got a Scar for Scar. So he has to throw both to make sure that he doesn't get penalized by the inertia, right? So if he's throwing 8, that means we go down to 14, which means the Scar will not be turned on, even if we don't block. So unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do about that particularly. That's just how that landed. But we definitely want to get this because he's given us the frailty, right? We'll take the value when we can get it. We'll just force the snaps here. And we will discard because we want to get 4 value out of this, and then we'll fuse here and then snap it, tunic counter Rosetta is our goal. And just try to get ahead in the value game is all we're trying to do. And then we'll Arsenal this blue Earthwar Surge. Although it's not like the best card in the world to Arsenal, because we have Crown still up, I'm more than happy Arsenaling it, and we can just get rid of it if it doesn't apply to the next hand. No qualms with that. So like I said, we'll do that. We're going to play this. Unfortunately, it'll be for 6 and 1, but breakpoint doesn't really matter. He's going to get 2 value from this frailty, which is annoying, but that's okay. We will go ahead and snap it. And we're looking to get block value from our tunic now because we don't want to drop too low. Yep, he's going to boulder. That's fine. He basically gets 5 value there. That's pretty good. But I think we'll eke out ahead by giving the frailty back. I think that nets higher at the end of the day. And then we'll tunic counter. Also, this is a good tip. For anybody giving -1 counters to equipment, this is what you don't do. Everybody says Crown of Providence has 2, but giving it a -1 counter still decreases the block by 1, right? So there's only 1 value attached to it. But what Justin's done by doing it this way is he's given me the freedom to block 2 breakpoints with the same 2 pieces of armor. If he would have put it on grasp, he would have still gotten the -1. But if there was ever, a 4 that I needed to cover up, I have to now give tunic to do it. Now I can still give grasp. So if you ever give -1 counters, keep that in the back of your mind. Super important. Super important. Okay, this is from Arsenal. He did have an Arsenal, so we'll see what he's doing. Probably gonna snap here and push, if I had to guess. We don't have the greatest. So I do. He's at 7, so we could take 4, go to 13. We could go here, fuse here, play that goes there, and then Rosetta is a pretty solid play with him at 7. That gets him off the cards. It also denies D-reacts. That's actually really good, so we'll push here. Yeah, don't give people the opportunity to have more breakpoint ability to cover up with the armor. We're going to try to close it with the Exude. Really shut down the... unless this is a Bolton shot. If it's a Bolton shot, I mean, he still has Death Dealer, so it's not really that big a deal. This changes the game. We got to block this. Thank God for frailty, bro. Holy cow. Kind of awkward here because I do want to block with Crown and sink that. This is actually interesting. He's come off an Arsenal is the important part. So what I'm going to do here... I'm going to jam the armor. Give force. Cover it up. Sink away the Earth War Surge. In hopes of getting something else that... because the Autumn's Touch will still get value because we can always put it into Exude. And see, now we just open up the possibility. The only downside is we get blown out by Collapsing Trap, but with this hand, it actually could improve us. I hate to say that, but it's entirely possible. So hopefully he doesn't respect the Rabble, or if it comes in for like 2, that'd be kind of cool. Something like that. So it did come in for 4. We got a Bramble Spark on the way. That's neat. We do not have Seek and Destroy in Arsenal, so we can Arsenal this as a valid target. We have a non-attack. That's good ratio set up. This is good. We just don't want to see a trap here. That's very good. All right, so we're going to pass here. We're going to play this and obviously pump it. We're going to turn on full control. For those of you who don't know, the interaction with Exude, at the moment they declare blocks, there's a priority window in which you can, right here, where you can pump before they get the opportunity to react. If you wait till reactions, they can respond. If they block with something that's 4 or greater, they can respond because any reactions are considered instant speed and reaction step. So just something to be cognizant of. But that denied the D-React if he had one. I don't know. He may not even had one, and it's not even that big of a deal. But you never know. He has no AB now, so that's going to be our next like alternative win con, if you will. Okay, we do have an Endless Arrow. And this does not have Go Again. That's the very important thing to note here, is this does not have... Yeah, so okay. So we just got to think here. Is there any way that we lose... Because we just need to kill him with Arcane. So my knee-jerk reaction is we fuse the Bramble. That's 1 Arcane. E-Strike, Go Again. Pitching to make a Rune Chant first. That's 2 Arcane. E-Strike, Go Again. We dodged Collapsing Trap. Buzzsaw Trap doesn't matter. He would have to have 5 traps to kill us. Yeah, so we actually have to just take this because he does not have Go Again. And it should just win the game. He could have Razored there, I guess, and then we could die to a trap, but I don't know. We have to go ahead and pitch that because of Collapsing Trap. This will have Go Again, so it'll discard our hand if not, we won't be able to Rosetta. So we really need to close it out with Rosetta Thorn. Is our goal. Yep, he obviously has a Buzzsaw here probably, or 2 traps, either one. What we got here? Deal 2. I'm fine taking 2. Because you literally have to have 3 traps that all trigger to lose here. There's no way he has 1 more. No shot. We got there, but barely. Oh, by the skin of our teeth. Skin of it. Okay, my math was... Justin, I got a little scared there. I forgot that the crew traps, specifically the one you played, deals damage twice. I didn't factor that into my math. I was like, oh, I'm at 4 or 5. I'm good. He has to have like 4 traps that all trigger. But the crew one deals damage and also triggers. So like that one trap did 3 damage to me. I didn't think about that. That was rough. But I played around the Collapsing Trap 100% because if you would have played the Collapsing Trap first, let it resolved, I would have had to discard, and then you would have played the other. So 100%, 100% correct play for not or pitching it was unnecessary. We didn't need the arcane because we already had enough arcane to win because he's at -1. But we needed to get the card out of our hand for the event of collapsing trap, which is exactly what he had. So that's just something we had to play around, and we did so. So we were in. Riptide is always a close game, believe it or not. It's actually very scary because they never give you time to get out Channelmount Heroic, right? Like I never even saw one. But you just play the value game. Once again, all comes down to that runway, blocking with those 4 blocks. So much value in doing that. So much value. That's not a deck. Absolutely not. I wouldn't work either if I was Talishar. Okay, so how is everybody doing in chat? What's everybody playing for RTN season? And does everybody have 1 or 2 this weekend? I just have 1 on Saturday. Is currently. Are we? Come on, Lucas. Are we playing Brighter Day? What else would we be doing? Now that you're in here, Lucas, when I called out and said that you were going to be the #1 rated Classic Constructed player in a year's time, you weren't supposed to then immediately let me jump you in the leaderboards. You weren't supposed to let that happen. What happened, Lucas? What happened? He said no comment. um, love the weekly streams. I appreciate it, Philip. Thanks a lot for that. I really do appreciate it. It means the world. Hopefully he can't get a dominated arrow. Although it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because it turns this bad boy on. So sometimes that's okay. I do like when Azalea pitches the codexes early because the infectious hosts play against Azalea. You get a lot less value because they don't go as wide. This is bad. Just gonna swoop in at Nats and get your elo back. You gotta get it back from last Nats. Okay, he opted for a Remorseless over a Red Ledger, which means he probably does not have a pump to go with it. Okay, I guess he does. Cool story. It is just damage. So, and this does not have a name counter, so he doesn't get the Deadeye discard, and he's off an Arsenal. So we are going to take some damage making this exchange, but that's Azalea for you. Turn lemon into lemonades. We have a Scar for Scar. Facts. Okay, this is a no-brainer. We are going to Nimblism into the Scar because it has Go again. And then we're actually going to elect to Rosetta Thorn instead of Sin the Snatch because we are under effects of Remorseless and it doesn't affect sword swings. And we obviously highly prioritize this card for Arsenal. So that is our gameplay. We're going to tie up life a little bit and just try to play the value game as best we can. As best we can. Dominate Remorseless with the pump. Pretty good opener out the gate, but we'll see. He did have to come off of an arsenal to do that, so that means we do get refunded like 3 of the value basically because it cost him a whole card to deal that damage. But he did deal 8 damage turn 1, so he basically got free 5 value is the way it works out. This is huge if we can shut it down. But we need every card is the unfortunate part, so our blocking priority goes this round's on me, then Earthlore. Or actually Earthlore, then this round's on me. Depending on whether he dominates, we don't care about this. No on hit. I wish all my rabbles hit. Tell you what. What is this, DJ Khaled? Jesus, another one. Okay. And so he is going to throw the infecting. And I'm going to be honest, chat. The Sink Blow is honestly there for like the big stuff, right? And we have a gas hand. This is 8, 12, 2 and 2, 16. We have 16 value in our hand offensively. Plus the embodiment, like that's just huge, right? This is a net of 7 here in the exchange. We can jam the armor. But just Red Ledger is so much worse. We effectively go down to 17, but we have some shelter. Then we have tunic counter. I think we have to take this, chat. I think we got to take it. I don't even think it's worth giving up the Sink Below for. We could have grasped and then played the Sink Below. But I'm telling you, it's really there for the big stuff. The really big stuff. I mean, this hand is just gas. Tar Pit Trap, I don't care. Can't play it. Or whatever. What do they play? Fate for Scene, stuff like that. Been a while since we've seen Levi run those, but he would know. He would know. Play Redline Dromite, always hits. Yeah, but it doesn't hit Gorgtome. Hell yeah, I did that on stream at Indianapolis. Tell you what. It was on a yellow rabble, so it only came in for 4, but it's still hot. The more cards he blocks with, the better. I really wanted more than 1, but we'll take the settling of the life because he'll take 9 down to 20. We'll basically tie it up once the Blood Rot resolves, but we have shelter in the Sink Blow is what we're relying on. Yeah, if I had a brick hand, I wouldn't even thought about it. 100% we're filtering. In fact, I would have double filtered. I would have blocked with crown instead of grasp, to get the double filter. But you know, this is great. 1 card, we can just make a 1 card trade. It looked like he got all arrows, so no pumps. That's fantastic. It's kind of what we needed. We'd want to take some damage here to push. I didn't want to take damage with that, but I mean, didn't I just put a tweet out about not blocking with Force of Nature? I think we play these boys. All right, let's do some math here. So we play the Force, we take 1. Because it's a combo deal, right? That can't be right. That's +1 off the fuse, then Scar. He's obviously going to block the first one because he's not going to let me draw. Then another Scar that's 9 and then make a rune chant. Rosetta is another 5. That's 13 value. I could block, but I have to take 3 damage to do it. So you subtract that, so it's a 10 value play. I could block here, 8. That's a 13 value play. So that's actually the higher EV play, is to play it a little bit slower. It is kind of wasteful, but there's no world where we keep one of those in block with armor. I really want to save the armor and the sink blow. And then this way, it doesn't matter what he does with the scars; they're going to be turned on. Also, with him drawing all arrows, I don't mind kind of prolonging the game a little bit. Anytime deck that is prone to bricking, you know, they run ratios where they get all of one thing and not another, and they can really get like blown out by it. You can be really rewarded if you notice early in the game that their ratio is off because of a certain play they did. Like you drew a handful of arrows, so now there's a good chance that it's going to be much harder for him to dominate one. And I'm okay playing that those odds into the future turns. We could have tunic countered into something, but a little bit too risky here. So we're obviously going to do some filtering here, and that's okay. He kept a hand, so he's going to be doing something. Okay, we're going to block this. We got 2. Yep. Yep. That's a big boy. So he's just going to throw it natty, which is okay because we're just going to block 15. Come to fight OP. And we're going to keep our sink below. What a savage. Oh, man. Y'all say Oldham's broken. I just blocked 15 with an aggro deck. Tell you what. And we got to get our little 2 damage in here. We should have done it last turn, if I'm being honest. But what can we do? And we're sitting pretty good. We have a slight life lead. We have protection and all of our armor. So, and he's got a lot of big threats out of the deck, like 3 Remorseless are a bigger second most inconvenient arrow to face, and then only 2 Red in the Ledgers. Also, by keeping this down here, we shelter ourselves from the obvious. This hand's pretty good. That's an amplifying arrow. He is going to go reach for the Red in the Ledger. And I would love to disappoint him. Okay, let's see what we can do here. We can go 3, 7, 11. He's off of an arsenal. That decreases the value there. So we go 3 here. That'd be 3, 7. And then these 2 make 11. And then that way we basically tell him to find a red in the ledger, the last red in the ledger in his deck, or die, is basically what we're telling him. Because we're going to put channel out, get the embodiment through the rabble. But this is the pivot turn we were looking for, where he kind of invested everything into. I don't want to play Channel Mount Heroic. Like, I don't like the idea of it. It's just the way the hand lined up. Like, my knee jerk reaction was to block with the channel instead of the CNC, but he was off of an arsenal, and that's what leaned me toward the CMH. But that's okay. We do leave ourselves open to Codex here, but I think he pitched one earlier. And we have a snatch on top. We still have snaps, so we're looking good. I mean, he's really got to kill us is what he needs to do. So this is a good hand. If he can get his last red in the ledger, then that super sucks. But like, he literally only has one knock and one red in the ledger left in the deck. So if he has it, then that's just variance. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. But I mean, he's literally hit me with all the gas, and I don't think he can muster it up again. Because if it's anything other than that, he's just dead. He is just dead. Yeah, that ain't it, Chief. Okay, the reason why this is kind of a trap to block, and I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you probably blocked this, but if he has Rain Razors and I block this evenly, I get just shut down hard. And this does look like a Rain Razors play. And if not, he can always snap it and load something anyway. So the loading is going to happen, and we're at the end of the game, so he's not going to shy from doing it. So we're just going to let this hit. He's either going to snap it or he'll play his Rain Razors, and we'll go about our business and see what he has that's actually threatening. Yep, here's the Rain Razors, and then this allows the reload. And he did, when he opt, he put, or he didn't have an arsenal, I don't think. So he is not opted. So I'm assuming he's going to reload, flip, see if it's a red in the ledger, and then try to do it. Yep, trail shot we don't care about. He literally has to blind into red in the ledger to win this game. Sleep dart ain't it, Chief? I mean, it's not a bad arrow. It just ain't where you want to be. It ain't where you want to be. And now it's just as simple as he is never going to get another turn. Sleep Dart's going to turn off my hero ability. We can only block 5 anyway. We do want to throw the extra damage because we want the opportunity to actually take him out. Yeah, and he does have the opportunity to Bullseye Bracer here, which is fine. And he has 2 floating, so he could literally throw anything. We'll probably just give armor and go from there. Okay, that's fine. I'll get a rabble. No sweat. What are you grabbing is the question. Infecting shot? What are you grabbing? Infecting shot? We actually get Scar here because we are at less life. And he got Red in the Ledger, which we will have to block. Okay, this is actually a good play. Because it'll come in for 7, but we can block with the armor and snatch and nimblism, so we are okay. So we'll just thank him for what up, man, Sant? How we doing today? How did we do? What is Briar's worst matchup? Icelander? Maybe? So we're gonna discard the Exude here. And then we are going to block with that's actually a pretty good play. Coming in for 7 like this. It is going to get the armor, but that's why we saved it. That is why we saved it. Rain Razor and threw 3 arrows in Azalea? What happened? What happened? That's why we didn't block anything. Gotta play around that. Gotta play around that. So we got 6 and 7, which is gonna get most of the tempo. He's gonna get a ponder token. He has some armor. So I wouldn't say that we've like won the game, but I'd say we're still in a favorable spot. Because how he blocks this Scar is going to be very important for him. And we also manipulated the life to make this happen. Because other than that, we'd have to risk it on a rabble, and that could always end very poorly. Very poorly. We do have a block that is good. That means that we get the embodiment because we're not going to be able to get every card in his hand, more than likely. We're probably going to get 2 cards in Crawl Straps or Tunic, depending on the situation. Two blocks. Love to see it. Love to see it. Now, this isn't as good as it looks because he does have Tunic counter, so he can Tunic, like throw an infecting shot. But we have... Oh, we don't have an embodiment because of Sleep Dart. No. But we got some life to play with. We just have to... We do have a good chance of not breaking because we have the Scalar still. We're not popping those unless he lets us hit. So we have tempo. We accomplished tempo, but if this is a beefy arrow, we'll see. We'll see what this last card is. It's gonna decide the game. Is what that. If he has a Codex face down, oh, that's gonna be bad. It's going to be so bad. Okay. He put it on top, so it is an arrow. He's going to Azalea into it. Get the dominate effect. We know it's not a red in the ledger because he's played all 5. No, there's still one out there. It is an infecting shot. Okay. So this is actually interesting. The interesting part about it is there's actually, because we don't have an embodiment, there's literally no difference in blocking with a Tome of Harvest and then pitching for the Blood Rot. There's literally no difference. So we do have some ground to make up. I think we are forced in a position where we have to unfortunately we just have to get a little lucky on this Enlightened Strike draw, because we have to draw a snap, see what happens. So we do have to go to 1. We have to just make sure we have a blue at the end of the turn. But it's just our only line that we have available to us. That was a very good hit, though, to blind Azalea into that. Well, not blind, but like it was on top with the opt. That's really good. Okay, so we'll start out with an E-Strike, getting rid of one of the tomes, and then we will elect to draw a card and just hope it's something relevant. Like a Bramble Spark, or not. That is the correct answer. Okay, as a D-React here. Oh, I have full control, and that's why I was doing that. Other than that, I mean, we're going to die from the next dominated anything, so we are... I mean, there's no way that we could, like, close the game, is there? He has 3 cards. My knee-jerk reaction says I can Force Fuse, pitch to make a Rune Chant. That would be swarming for 4 and 1, and then it'd be 2 and 2. He's at 4. He still has 1 armor, so he could block 2 arcane with 1 card, block the 4, still take the block 3 and this. No, it doesn't kill him, so that is unfortunate. So we are forced to do this and then just play this, and then we'll pitch for the Blood Rot Pox at the end. Yeah, Remorseless would have been worse, but he's played all of them. So he did good for himself early in the game to dodge that. And that was actually a misplay. I should have pitched the tome to do it, because I could have left myself open to actually playing the Force, depending on how he blocked. and closing the game out. Just a small micro play, but I assumed he was going to block. So yeah, we don't want to lose the game, so we will elect to do that. Yep, Codex is pretty good. It does give us a scar, which we will take. He's getting a Bolton shot. Interesting. Because he needs a 0 cost. Okay. Frailty will be active. I think we just get the scar. I don't think there's any other way to really sugarcoat it. We're going to want to block with the Sink Blow, obviously, which means we have to abandon these cards, which is okay. There's actually more value in playing the Swarming Gloomveil than there is pitching to make a Rune Chant and resetting because of the Frailty, which means we have to get rid of the lowest block card. And we do have the option. He's obviously going to throw this, and we're obviously going to sink it. And we have the option. We have the option to. He even found one on top. Holy cow, this dude's nuts. We have the option to sink the Autumn's Touch. I do think that's kind of incorrect because we need to go again in the Arcane for the Swarming because it's only coming in for 3, so there's no way it's going to hit. And we don't really have anything that really leaves us to like high roll because we don't have snaps. So it's literally another scar for a scar or like a rabble that hits or something like that. So unfortunately, we have to. We have to hang on to the Autumn's Touch. Because this will be 3, 3, 1, and 1. So that'll be 2. It might actually not be good enough. That's interesting, actually. 1 and 1, is that enough? 3 and then 3, that's 2 cards. He'll have 1 in Arsenal and 2 cards left, and then he can literally take 1 and 1 and kill us. It's actually not good enough. We actually have to sink the Autumn's Touch. Unfortunately. And it paid off. But that's the key part about playing this game is understanding when you have to take chances and when you don't. And what this allows us to do is send the Scar to gain a card. And then simply E-Strike for 7, getting another 2. As a D-React. And then here we just have to push as much damage as we can. No way to... We could draw a card if we're feeling a little lucky. We still have 2 unmovables somewhere in this list that we, have in there for a reason that we have not found. So we do have an out for a Dominated Arrow. They do exist. But this way it kind of helps prevent that from even needing to be the case. Because here he has a choice of either giving me the cross traps or going to 1. He chose to go to 1, which I'm fine with, as long as he can't dominate a big arrow. And And that takes it. I even have the 4 block, but this comes in for 5. He got me. Hit all the stuff off the top. Hit it all. Didn't miss once. Didn't miss once. GG. Yeah, next turn we could have blocked with the... If it wasn't dominated, it was just a pump arrow, we could have blocked with channel and autumn touch and sent the rabble in the host, and that would have taken tempo because he was at 1. Yeah, unfortunate. Just a little bit slow. Didn't see any unmovables, unfortunately. Unfortunate, but that happens. We played it well. We played it well. All right, we got a Damien on Riptide. This is annoying. All the Riptide. Now it's Damien, so he's gonna be on some like janky stuff. He's probably gonna like try to fatigue me or something. I don't know. I feel like he's up to something. Feel like he's up to something. We're getting stream sniped, boys. All right, Damien. Or you and Justin are probably just talking. You're like, and Damien's like, let me try this out. Load a Falcon Wing. That's a good card to load, Damien. What are you doing? There you go. Pass turn. Look at you being a big boy, Damien. Okay. All right, so we're going to send the Rabble out first. We hard lose to Collapsing Trap here, but we don't have a choice. Oh, my. Damien. I knew it, too. I freaking knew it. Legendary Trap off the rip. Okay, we do have the embodiment, so we'll make it the best turn we can. Send this for 4, go again, and then another 2 after. So we got Collapsing Trapped and still sent 10 damage. We'll take those, but it still hurt. I had a much better turn lined up. I was planning on pitching the blue for the swarming, same play, but then following it with a snatch on the end. So the Collapsing Trap basically blocked a snatch from happening, which is really good. Okay, he likes his hand, taking a lot of damage. That's cool. Yep, sure. We don't block Falcon Wing. Yep, just activate Death Dealer. That's a good interaction to make sure you stay efficient. Throwing a Rabble. It says go again, so we know something else is coming. Okay. Now, does this say reload or put a card in Arsenal face down? So he still can trigger this with New Horizons. So we are gonna opt to take this for sure. Once again, just damage. Just damage. Okay, this does not have go again. He has 2 cards. Very likely that they're traps. So I do just like getting rid of the extra card we have. As much as I would love to play it, we don't have the blue, so and he's just gonna trench it away and take 6. Like, pretty standard move there that I don't want to fall into. If he's good, he'll notice that I had Infectious Host on the top, so he'll kind of be wary of playing a Codex or anything like that. We knew he had a trap because he just ended the turn with 2 cards in hand, so this one probably lands. And then we set up the good arsenal for next turn. We have good cards, but we might have to give them up, unfortunately. He has a good point. I should not have an embodiment because of the tar pit trap. Okay, we have remorseless, and we're going to act as if we don't have an embodiment, is the way we're going to treat it. There's no other play that we really have. We just have to go here and then jam. Yeah, because we have to treat it like we don't have an embodiment. So that was correct. We have to overblock by 1. We're not wasting Tunic. It's just the game, Talishar is programmed in a way to where we're not supposed to have an embodiment. So I'm overblocking to correct the game state, basically. No, we do not pay that. Yeah, Justin, I traded it as if I didn't have the embodiment. Another legendary trap. Yep. I haven't activated any reactions, so it's just a block 3. Where's the buzzsaw, Damien? I know you got it. I was really hoping he frailty trapped me there. Not gonna lie. He's gonna react anyway. So to mitigate the chances of a buzzsaw trap to decrease the exposure, I'm actually gonna elect to Arsenal the Nimblism. Yep, called it. So if we would have pre-pumped it, it would have gone way up. And then also because that happened, I know I get 1 more value by Rosetta Thorning, but I need to keep my options open with the tomes. Because we just really need to like kill him next turn. So I'm actually going to elect to Arsenal instead. So we're just going to pass. But he has found all 3 legendary traps, and he still has 62 cards in his deck. Nice. Nice. I can't wait for Vincent. But what I do know is after spoiler season's done, I'm gonna do a like I don't care what day it is. I'm just gonna do like a long stream of just me figuring out the deck. I'll make a promise to everybody that the deck will be solved on this stream when it happens. Guaranteed. I don't care how long I'm gonna sit here hammering away at it. It's gonna happen. Guaranteed. Sure. Yep, that's a good play. I think we just have to try and kill him. I mean, like, we could block it theoretically, but it's really not advantageous for us to do so. So we've already seen Buzzsaw trap. We've already seen all the legendary traps. Another tar pit would lose us the game because we wouldn't get the trigger and it would carry over. We're just falling too far behind. We have to put all in one. Let's take one, take one, take one, take one. That's 4 plus 8. That's 12. This is super risky, but we gotta try to close it here. He's got too many legendary traps to. So we just gotta push it. Unfortunately. We're going to sink this, and we're going to elect to draw a card. And so I have Go Again from the embodiment. And we don't have to worry about it being buzzsawed, but we still, like, Tar Pit Trap is horrible here. But he obviously has three blocks here. Yep, Boulder, we already blocked the equipment, so no value there. He does deal the damage, though. That's fine. Another Boulder deals another damage. That's cool. And then he has one card, so we land this by snapping it. And we really need to just draw Go Again attack, so we're in a bad spot. But we're also going to die to Remorseless too. Is another. That's another problem. Interesting spot, because if we Sonata, we take a damage. And if we we can't go to 1 against Riptide. So if we Sonata and actually land it, we can only play 2 anyway. So our only out here actually is to dump everything into Sonata, hit a Go Again, play the Go Again, and then kill him with Rosetta. That's our only out. So we play 4. We need to Go Again attack. I wish we could have gotten like more arcane damage. It would have made it a little easier. We play. Oh, we can't even Rosetta. So yeah, we lose because we wouldn't have got there anyway. But that was our like best shot. If we could have dealt one more arcane, got an extra card, and then we could have. Yeah, we're 2 damage short because we can Rosetta here off the draw. And then he just blocks out and like kills us via trap is his game plan now. So Yep. And we can't trigger a trap. Okay. We don't want to trigger a trap, but I think literally our only out is to just hope he has more than a couple traps. Is our only out. Doesn't have go again. This will only trigger the last boulder and won't trigger tar pit. We can pay for any of the crew ones. This might actually get there, maybe. For lucky. Ah, so close. The one, so he found all 3 legendary traps in like the first 4 hands on a 70 card deck, and then the one time we need him to have traps, he doesn't have it. Oh. Well, let's try it again. He doesn't run a lot of yellows. I'm just trying to figure out what's the higher value. Another arcane or 2. Goes from a 7 to a 9. There's no real delta there. Yeah, we have to just hope he doesn't have it. No, I know he can't play him. I wanted him to have him so he couldn't block with him, and then I just kill him. But we're gonna make the exact identical play here, basically, and just hope that we can get there. That's why we don't give up, chat. That's why we don't give up. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Suck it, Damien. Oh, we got him. We got. See, we knew our outs. We knew we had to gamble in the Sonata because Remorseless did like a bajillion damage. We kind of whiffed. I mean, we paid 4 into the Sonata. We revealed 5 cards and we only got 1, so that's below rate. And it was a go again attack. That was a little fortunate, but we recognized what Damien, what do you mean if that wasn't exactly Exude, you win? What if you didn't draw all 3 legendary traps in your first 3 hands? Like, what about that in a 70 card deck? What if, Damien? What if? All right, chat. Hopefully, we don't have to go through another Riptide game, but they've been very close. It's not a comfortable matchup. But we knew what we had to do, and we just executed it. And at the end, things lined up a little well with the no D reacts, but that's why we play those. All right, we got us a good old Oldhim. A much slower, more methodical matchup. It's called statistics. Yeah. You ran 70 cards and saw 3 1 of 3s in the top in the first 3 hands. You collapsing trapped me on my first turn. Literally stopped me from hitting you with a snatch. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. But life finds a way. Life finds a way until it LLs, then it just dies along with its weapon. Are we going first or is he? Okay, he's running 60 cards. First thing to notice, AB1, not AB2. That's pretty normal. So this is a standard setup. It is a little worrisome that he's throwing this specifically. So I am going to hold a card and take a little bit. I'm going to do that. I'm just trying to think. No, we'll just give him the whole thing. We have rights. That's a lot of damage we just gave him, though. We gave him 4, like, premium reds. So if things go down at the end of the game, it's because we drew that and had to block with it. But that's what happened. He did come off an Arsenal to do it. So hopefully. Oh, my God. Well. Literally can't even make that play. Oh, wow, this is bad. Well, chat, that's about as bad of a start as we could ask for. Yeah, he's probably on the buckle list. That's fine. I don't really have anything that's like a high value buckle target. Yep, pitching for Arcane, gonna throw in Rampart, and then probably block 2 cards. Easy, man. Oh, it's a lot easier when you draw better. I had to block with absolute gas, and then on the rip, I drew absolute doo-doo. And he has the staunch to counter it. That's even better. At least we got an embodiment. Hashtag progress. Hammer me. Yeah, I don't care. You got it. Just trying to efficiently swing Rosetta. Also, if he doesn't have a D-Rack, which he's literally played a staunch and pitched a staunch. So hopefully he just didn't draw the natty sink below and we get damage in here. Oh, what is this? What is this, chat? This madman's on yellow staunch. Staunch this. I'm just trying to make sense of the staunches and then throwing the CNC instead of hammering and arsenaling. Like I'm it's not making a lot of sense, but maybe he's got a plan. Maybe. Okay, our count's a little off. This is a high risk Sonata, but it's what we got to do. We got some catching up to do. Yep. Thought that was going to happen. We'll hit go again and then Tunic Rosetta since he's running 14 million D-Racks. It's Rainbow Staunch Oldham. I didn't even know that was a thing. but so far this is about as bad as it gets. With the Sonata, blocked with the gas, drew nothing. Eesh. Eesh. Another D-React, yep. So he's just playing fatigue, I guess. Is his plan. Covers it up with crown, and if he wants to crown, I don't know. We got some catching up to do. Yeah, Buckle build does really good against. It's bad against Briar, but it doesn't lose poppers. It runs plenty of poppers for Dromai. It's actually better into Dromai because it's more aggressive. All right, we tied up the life, but he's going to throw a Spinal here, maybe a Tear Asunder. Okay. Off of an Arsenal. I think this is it. I think this is the one. This is where we make our stand. Hopefully we don't miss on this one. And the card that we flip over on the Rabble is going to dictate whether we send the Surge or hold it back, and his blocks is what it's going to come down to. So we have to analyze both parts. So we flip a attack, okay. So that hedges on me actually arsenaling the Lightning Surge because we want to keep it going with the swarming. And then because I want the option, I mean, it's coming for 7 anyway, whether it's a swarming or a Lightning Surge, but I want the option to set up. So as an example here, he's not blocking, so I don't want to be vulnerable to a CNC, so now I'll play it in case he's trying to do that. He also could just, I don't know what his plan is, but I don't want to open myself up to CNC because I have no more armor except for 1, and yeah, just not trying to put myself in that position. So just getting damage in while we can. He's gonna try and spinal me, I guess. Yep. Which is fine. We will make a good trade here. And now we're just going to be more efficient. So we had a terrible start but we were able to stabilize by just jamming the armor on the choke slam and making a strong pivot. Um, we finally hit a Sonata, thank God. Um, and now we have the life at a point where he kind of has to be careful no matter what he does, which is what we're looking for. We're trying to not let him play on his terms, but ours. Yep, that's fine. We still get the embodiment. Not sure why he didn't block with Rampart. Slight misstep. We're just going to keep putting on the pressure, not letting up. No, because then, Damien, if I do that, I come off the arsenal, and he's already taken. He literally ate 14 damage that turn, so there's no reason to do an extreme setup like that, because I don't think fatigue is no longer an option. I mean, I have 39 cards left in my deck, including rights, and he's at 13 life. So if he was showing healing bombs and cards like that, I would say yes. I would have to make a play of double pitching the earth to keep it around. But because he ate so much damage, I think just strictly playing the value game and blocking with the blues is the much better bet. We also have Pulse in the list, so we'll get Channel back. We got plenty of opportunities to do that again. We're not trying to force anything. And we would also we would not come off an arsenal, but we would. That's also a negative too, because he has 2 CNCs, and we would not have an embodiment, and we only have 1 armor. So it's a weird situation there. But we're basically telling him he's not getting a full hand for the. This is his last crackback. So as long as we can weather this, we're basically in a decent spot. So he obviously has pummel here. That's a given. Given that he has the pummel, we don't have anything that we can do. So I actually favor just blocking here, letting him pummel. We'll discard the nimblism, and we will arsenal the channel mount and pitch the other one to Rosetta. Is what we're gonna do. So we'll take the 6. We'll discard the nimblism. It's the less. We still have 1 more Sonata in the deck too, so we will shuffle 1 more time. So pitching this channel is not the end of the world. And he is also off of an arsenal, so Crown Rampart is an effective way to just cover up the Rosetta. That's also a positive. So we could actually leak a damage here, which is kind of cheeky. We do open ourselves up to Ice React, but we have such a life lead. I don't mind him going down to 3 cards for that. We are telling him that we have channel in our hand, though, because we pitched a channel. I mean, you probably literally pitch any other card. Yep, there's the Earth. So we got him on a 3-card hand. With Tunic, that's kind of scary, but we'll see. Okay, so this doesn't necessarily mean anything. There was no information given because I wasn't. This could be a pummel, but like, I highly doubt it. I mean, it basically means he has D-reacts, because if it was anything else, he would have not blocked the 2 and then just roused me. This hand kind of sucks, though. Not gonna lie. I'm trying to talk myself out of playing the Channel Road for one turn. I really don't want to. We're not losing that bad. Here we just send Lightning Surge. If he gets greedy on blocks, we do have the options to snap here. But this obviously means he has D-Rex. I'm fine with him going to 1. He has another direct in hand more than likely because of the whole Rouse play, so there's no reason to push the Snatch here. We'll just hold it, wait for a bigger turn, try to close it out. All right, so I have Disruption or die. That's up to you. That's not Disruption, boss. Reason I'm playing the Scar out front is I know I'm having to snap anyway. So I'm going to play the Scar out, and if he does let it leak, it pumps the Swarming to 7, which is ideal, but we know we're ending on a Snatch anyway. He can't afford to Ice React here, so... Okay, in that event, we will ditch the Swarming because it's the easiest card to give go again, and we'll close it out with a Snatch to draw the Swarming again. But he'll probably block it out, but we'll start with, at least he won't be throwing anything at us is the main point. That is A-okay. And this is good. We can go here, fuse here, and we can go ahead and make the Rune Chant here to get more cards and guarantee the go again. If he takes the Arcane, it pumps. If he does Ice React here, he probably dies to Rosetta. This is why we put the Swarming on top and not the Snatch, is we needed that flexibility because Snapdragons were no longer an option. He obviously has a... Oh, I thought he had a Staunch here, but... Not sure what's happening. Okay, he can Ice React. Well, Rosetta Thorn. That was our plan. Sure. So that's still game, right? That's it. So that's how you have the absolute worst start you possibly can into the Oldhim, and you just got to be patient. You know, look for those windows. Save your armor for like one big push. Do not, if you notice, like literally, unless either I blocked for max value to preserve life to extend the runway, or I just played all my hand offensively. You can't play the mid rangey. You have to either preserve life or go all in. No real in between. But yeah, that's how that matchup is played. Horrible start. We had to block with all our gas. We threw an Autumn's Touch for our first turn, and then we missed on our first Sonata. So, Damien, Justin, I can't put the stream through another Riptide. I Can't do it. I would love to play another one, but we've already done 2 Riptides. We can't. Sorry, Justin. Can't do it. We got to do something else than Riptide. We can play a game after. I just don't want to I don't want to make everybody keep watching Riptide games over and over and over again. We can do a Lexi. Lexi's fun. We will do a Lexi game. This is Austin. We're getting stream sniped a lot tonight. That's okay though. That's okay. Okay. Sorry, Justin. I just didn't want them to sit through another Riptide game. Already did 2 today, but we can play one after if you're staying up and we got time. He said this is a whack list. Okay, that's great. Okay, so here we just passed to prevent the load is what we want to do. Okay, he did decide to send it. So we're basically just going to get the embodiment guaranteed, which will give this go again. And he was so eager to take the damage that we actually, now this is going to surprise a lot of people, but in this situation, because he took the damage so quickly, I'm actually going to elect to pitch the Channel Mount Heroic and Arsenal the 0-for-4 for embodiment management purposes. Yep, we knew this was happening. I mean, there's no reason that he's gonna take that much damage for nothing. So we'll see what he can turn it into. Starting out the gate hot, because you took such a 3 cards in hand. I feel like we have to take this. There could be something worse than a red infecting shot, believe it or not. That's not worse. That's bad. We'll force him to use bullseye bracers if he really wants to. Okay. I'll give it to him. Nah. Not gonna give him tunic yet. Way too early. So this is why we arsenaled the lightning surge instead of the Channel Mount Heroic. Is we wanted to be able to just do a 0-for-4 to maintain embodiment so we don't take that much damage on the following turn. But after a Rain Razor's 3 of a kind and he popped literally everything, we're actually still ahead on life or tied for life and have an embodiment. So not in the worst spot. Okay, we no longer care about drill shots anymore because we don't have the infecting evens your life more or less. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the one thing I like about him blowing the equipment early is it actually turns Heat Seeker into a liability. Not a good card. So we're actually going to be looking to block all but one damage on the Heat Seeker to force the flip, and then um, kind of like break him because if he has 2 arrows in arsenal or whatever. Okay, he's electing to set up, so we are going to try and punish that. I am going to take Tunic Counter here because we have the option to sift away if we don't get the attack, which is ideal. But, you know, we're madmen, so we get there. We're going to elect to draw a card. I about tripped out for a second. He blocked 2 cards and it said 8. I was like, whoa, this dude ain't got no embodiment. For here, I'm not sure if there's validity in arsenaling this because it is worth 5 damage. So we are just going to go ahead and send the 5. No reason not to. We don't have an embodiment, but he is under this rounds, so that is ideal. The unfortunate part was his hand did kind of suck. 2 hands in a row where we had to find our way. Jeez. I'm going to take this damage, even though it's risky. I have to draw an attack here, or we probably lose. We're getting good at this, chat. We're getting real good at this. And we'll arsenal that one. He does have another giant turn set up though, so we do have to weather that. So he has a Rainrazor's Art of, so he did a Rainrazor's 3 of a kind. He played another 3 of a kind, and this one's a Rainrazor's Art of War, maybe 3 of a kind, double Art of War. Okay, so this is like the ultimate high roll. With the 3 of a kind, okay. So yeah, this is just sure. I don't even know. 2 Art of Wars, a premeditate. I have to scroll. There's so many buffs on this shit. Withering for 11. What the fuck actually just happened? I mean, I have to hold back. Like, I mean, we just lose here. Like, that's just the reality of it. But like, I still want to play as optimum as I can. So here we have 7 into what will be Rainrazor's 3 of a kind in double Art of War. That's a buff of 4. That'll come in for 9. So we can give Tunic and 2 of those so we can cover it all. But that's like the high roll of high roll. Well, chat, we definitely don't win this one because you just can't beat that. You can't beat 2 Rain Razors 3 of a kinds with double Art of War and a premeditate to launch. Like you just can't. Unfortunately, because we're gonna draw. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. I thought we were gonna draw a bunch of stuff that isn't gonna allow us to like make a real good play. This is coming for 5. Reload's not active. So he's obviously trying to set something up here. Sure. That's what I would have done. Actually, I know this sounds nuts, but I think we're forced to snap here. So we can get the tunic counter and Rosetta. Because he's about to crack back, and I don't think we're going to have another turn where we can just... I think we need to get the damage in and block with tunic, probably, if I had to guess. We will see. Okay. Bolton shot for 7. And this will come in for 5. So in this situation, Arsenal CNC can be a liability here. So yeah, we have to do that move. Okay, and our number one priority here is just to get the embodiment. We got to secure the embodiment. So I think I'm going to elect to just jam the 7. Because he did just play a codex. So it does open us up a little bit for codex. But we're at a high enough life to where we can probably weather it. But he's just drawn the absolute nuts, and we're still in the game. So we're doing better than I thought, to be honest. I just don't think you can beat double Art of War Rain 3 of a kind. Just don't think it's possible. Brendan, it's going. We got double Art of War Rain Razor 3 of a kind after getting Rain Razor 3 of a kind. So we're hanging in there, to answer your question. We are hanging in there. We are doing our best. Okay, flip that. So we have one more arrow here. That costs 1. But he does have... What does he have available to him? Not entirely sure here. He's at 2. We can kill him with Arcane. I think that's actually our goal here. Which means we will have to come off of an arsenal or a embodiment for 1 turn. but I think it's a risk we have to take. Which means we're going to do a light block. No. There's no reason. No reason to block this. Unfortunately. Because we know something else is coming. Okay, so we have 5 here, and then he's tunic countering for 4. So total of 9. And we can block 9, just not... Yeah, it's somewhat efficient. We'll leak 1. So we just go here and here. He throws the frost slot by taking tunic counter. We leak 1. And then as long as we draw a blue, he has to deal... He has to deal... we could block, what, probably 8. And he needs to deal... enough damage to take us out by holding 1 card. Well, that's a good way to do it. Everything doesn't block, so that is super unfortunate. This is where we have to hedge. We just lose to so many things here. We lose to Codex. We lose to... What? Infecting doesn't necessarily matter because it would have to kill us on that turn. But do we have any rains left? We have 1 Rain Razor, so I guess we have to respect it, unfortunately. But we just lose to so much here, unfortunately. We lose to so much here. Okay, so this basically means that he's trying to quiver for game, is what he's attempting to do. Which no, he has Codex here. Oh man. I don't think I can play around it. I can't play around Codex. I lose no matter what happens. If he has Codex. Yep. I thought it. Like, you could jam here, but then he just kills me with whatever arrow he goes and grabs. So, there's just nothing we can do about it. But, I mean, we made it, like, literally down to the wire after getting double Art of War, he Rain Razors 3 of a kind the first turn, then double Art of War, Rain Razors 3 of a kind another turn. And then Art of War 3 of a kind. So, like, yeah, he just drew the nuts. But we made it close. What time we got? 10:40. Do you guys have a process of accepting people to the team, or just invite and reach out to players who you think would be a good fit? It basically comes down to, do we have spots open? And typically we will reach out and invite. We do not there's no like application or anything like that. Just when we have a spot, we start looking, and we put feelers out there and stuff like that. Currently we are not, but in the future, who knows? So I'm just gonna chat for a minute, talk to you guys as we kind of close up shop. Anything that you guys want to chat about? I'm gonna put it out one more time for everybody. I am starting to offer coaching to anybody that is interested. I've currently I told myself that the first 10 people I was going to discount the rate to $20 an hour instead of 30 or 40. So I've already had 5 people sign up though, so I got 5 more slots for the $20 rate. Uh, as of 2 hours ago, I haven't checked my email or Discord, um, but I am offering that now. You can lock in the price of $20 an hour, only up to 10 hours, but you can just do 1 hour. You can do 10, completely up to you. Just putting that out there to everybody that I am offering that as of now. I can work on anything, building decks. I can watch you play games, kind of throw ideas out there, what's good, bad, things like that. Whatever you get the most value out of. Just wanted to put that out there. I was gonna stream snipe you this time. Yeah. Everybody stream snipe me. Austin, Damien, Justin did it once and tried to do it a second time. And then yeah, I don't know who the Oldham was, or I forget the other map. We had an Azalea, I think. Not sure. Um, I don't know if you played a mirror tonight, but how useful is give and take? I typically add CNCs in the mirror, but I believe your instructions were to keep them. I think the match comes down to who can swing Rosetta Thorn more often while maintaining embodiment. Um, I think there's a lot of validity to doing the CNC that you're suggesting. Um, the the um, the way that I would put it, if you had any read on your opponent, I would say play give and take if you think they are a better player, and then if you think that I think you get more equity by playing CNC against weaker players, because they'll typically use their crown a little early, and you can really force some exchanges. But I don't hate your idea of putting the CNCs in the give and take spot. I don't mind it at all. Um, yeah. So sorry, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, that is going to be all the games that we have for today. But uh, anybody that just joined us or joined us recently, I highly encourage you to go back to the little talking part at the beginning. A lot of value in like understanding the runway aspect of the game, and knowing when to create more time for yourself and when not to. Things of that nature, what it does. Um, yeah, Endless Arrow is just too good. It really is. It's just too good. Um, I mean, Lexi's just got a lot of tools. That's just how it is. It's okay. I'm happy to take Alexi down to one that did all the stuff he did. I think that's insane. Um, our Alexi players really dislike playing into your Briar list, by the way. Yeah, I've had a lot of success with it. Um, like I said earlier, typically the way the match works out on a normal level is you create a health lead of about 15 to as much as 20 sometimes. And then once they get to 8 or 10, you just put the foot on the gas, take a bunch of damage, put them on the blocking plan, and then you can just outvalue from there once she starts blocking. Is typically how the match runs out when they don't draw the absolute nuts. Is the Philip, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. Um, yeah, I think that's going to do it unless chat has any questions or comments or want me to cover something. I'll give you guys a second to throw your hat in, if you will. All right. Seems like chat's kind of quiet, so we'll go ahead and call it. Once again, thanks everybody for joining me. I really appreciate it. Um, it means a lot to have you guys tune in. I know everybody's time is super valuable, and really appreciate you sharing it with me. And if you're not here now, appreciate you checking out the VOD. And Brendan, glad you got the card. Awesome, man. Um, yeah, everybody take care. I'll see you guys after next Wednesday. I'll be going over obviously what happened at my RTN, kind of thoughts, things like that, and go from there. So take care, everybody. Signing out.